What's your emergency?
Welcome back to That Wee Wee Show, a podcast where we normally watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911, but we're doing something a little bit different this week. I'm Bex.
And I'm Ellen. And Alice is not with us tonight. She's busily doing some other doggy show things, but we have been very busy since the end of season 4 reading a whole heap of Buddie fan fiction. So we decided that that we would put together a bit of an episode about fanfic.
Yes.
So apologies to people who aren't shippers or who don't read fanfiction, but you know, if you don't want to listen to us chatting about fic, then by all means you can skip this episode and join us next week when we're going to actually get stuck into the beginning of season 5.
Yes.
But this week we have a bunch of fic that has been recommended to... Well, okay, so the story about how this came about. We got to the end of season 4.
We got to the end of season 4 and I got very, very excited to share some of my favourite fics with Ellen.
Bex has been itching to get me to read a bunch of different stuff. Because if you hadn't already guessed, we're avid fan fiction readers from way back of mainly Destiel fic from the Supernatural fandom. So I was really excited to get stuck into some 911 fic because I've been avoiding spoilers. I haven't read any of it yet before the last few weeks. So it's been lovely. I've enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So far, like, you know, that in the show, obviously I'm aware that Buck and Eddie have their chemistry and their, you know, friendship and all that stuff, if that's what you want to call it. But I knew that as soon as I started reading fic about it, that the authors of the fandom just enhance all of the romantic tension. Okay,
so this is probably... I know when you started watching this show, you kind of, like, gave Alice and me a little bit of side-eye as we started caking the clown makeup on and really sort of looking probably further into what was on the screen than was necessarily there. And I will 100%, I will blame that on fan fiction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, reading something that someone else has written about what if something is there, or what if this happened, or, you know, filling in the gaps in canon with some stuff that happened that could have happened. It's just such a great way to enhance stories that already exist.
Yes.
So, fan fiction fans for life.
Definitely. Definitely. Funnily enough, it took me a while before I started reading Buddie fan fiction. I don't know what it was. Well, actually, before I read any fan fiction, I'm not saying that I would specifically just read Buddie, but being on that side of the fandom, that's kind of what I gravitated to first, because that's what everyone was talking about. But I think it wasn't until, like, viewing number 5 that I actually picked up a fic and went, okay, I guess I would try that. And the fic was just so good that it tipped me over the edge and I became a rabid fanfic reader.
Yeah.
And so that's particular fic, that was HMS Lusitania's Leave the Light On, I'll Be Coming Home. So that's why I was so excited when we finally got to the season 4, because I'm like, Ellen, this is the fic that made me a rabid fanfic reader. I need you to read it. I really need you to read this one.
Yeah. And it was a great one.
So what happened was we finished recording season 4, episode, 14? Survivors?
14, yeah. Yep.
And then I immediately just shoved a whole heap of fic at Ellen, because she was going on holiday, and I'm like, you're going on holiday, you're going to have plenty of time to sit and read all of these.
And I did. It was so good. I stayed up late in my little camper trailer and read a whole bunch of fic. It's been great. So the reason that Alice has been referring to this as the Wee Woo mixtape episode is because usually I do, my other podcast is a Destiel fanfiction podcast, in case you didn't already know. That's Mixtape Book Club. And usually what we do is we choose a few fics in a particular genre or whatever to focus on and discuss them. But I think in this case, we've got like a bunch of fics here in a list that are all tangentially related to season 4, I think. Like they're around that era. So it works for us to just work our way through them and enthuse about how much we love them as we go through. And maybe we can wreck a few more at the end if we're still going, if we're keen.
There's definitely a lot more. So we did not only do we have the fics that I personally recommended and told you to read, but we had some of our followers recommend some fics as well. So friend of the podcast, Kira, recommended like 10 different fics. But for various reasons, I used my veto power to not send them through to you. Some of them that was because they had spoilers for season 5 onwards, whether that was there was a potential plot point or a character referenced. So I have not sent those through to you because I didn't want you to read them yet. Some of them because they were just way too long to be able to read within the time frame that we're working in. I mean, Kira, I love it, but that Anne with an E, AU, was 115,000 words.
There was a 911 Anne with an E, AU?
It's called, what was it called? She sent through all the AUs, and some of them were absolutely brilliant, but they were all on the longer side. And look, I love a long-form fic. I love fics that I can dig my teeth into, but I knew we were in a time crunch, and I wasn't sure how quickly you were going to be able to get through. 150. It's called Evan with a B.
Oh. Okay, well, you'll have to, if it doesn't spoil the rest of the series, then please send them to me anyway.
Once I get some time, I'll go through and check, and if it doesn't spoil, then I will definitely send it through. But yeah, 115,000 words. Whoosh.
Yeah.
And then the other reason is just that, like she said, she sent through about 10 different recommendations, and that was just far too many. So I cherry-picked sort of my favourites of what she sent through. But I will drop the entire rec list from both Kira and Graceful Ashes, who are both on Blue Sky, in the show notes and in our social media. So if you're listening to this and you're looking for new fics to read and you don't have the conditions that we've placed on Ellen, that she can't read anything that spoils season 5, and you have time to sit through a 115,000 word fic, you can have a look at those.
Yes, thank you so much, Kira and Graceful Ashes. If you are listening and you enjoy like hearing us talking about fic, then let us know, because we can definitely read some more and do more, like, you know, after season 5 or
once
whatever,
we get to season 5, there will be another list of fics that I will be shoving in your direction, going, right, now you've read that, now you're up to this and you know all of these characters, read these fics.
Excellent. All right. Well, do you want to start with Leave the Light On, I'll Be Coming Home, since it's your favourite one or your first one?
I think I don't necessarily know if it's my favourite one, but you know, you always remember your first. And I know that doesn't necessarily apply to fic, but it kind of does. Well, you always remember your first fic that you read. Yeah. But I think my personal preferences for fic tends to canon divergent, canon adjacent. So that's probably why most of these fics are based around sort of season 2, 3, and 4, is because that's what I like reading. I haven't quite ventured into the AU side of things yet.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of an extra step to take with fic, isn't it? Like you trust the characters and you trust the setting, and all of that is there in a canon fic.
Yes.
But as soon as you go into AU, like the characters are familiar, but the setting can vary wildly.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So Leave the Light On is canon divergent from season 4.
And this was published in 2021, so it was after I'm trying to remember when season 4 ended. No, so this is like right after season 4 ended, right? Or in the middle even.
911. Season 4. Let's have a look. Survivors aired May 24th, 2021. So
yeah, so right after. This was published in June 2021. So
I think it was completed in June, because from the author's notes it looks like it was a work in progress. So there were several gaps in between. But yes, it's very much it was a post season 4 fic. And from memory, it came out of somebody saying to the author, I really just want a fic. So the author is talking about a conversation with their beta reader where they said, we watched the finale, and she said, I never want to see Eddie die, but I do want to see Buck fight to keep Chris from Eddie's parents. And so that's how this fic was born.
Yeah, so this is like, it's angst. It's basically angst with a happy ending. I guess it's amnesia fic. And everyone is just so sad for a lot of this.
Yes.
But it's lovely. So, I mean, we can read the summary. The summary says, it's got like a little clip from the fic, and it says, we're here for our grandson, Helena says. Chris is still sleeping, Buck says. I meant we're here to take him back to Texas, Helena clarifies. Yeah, Buck says. He's too tired, way too tired to be tactful. Over my dead body. And then it goes on to say, an accident on a call leaves Buck with custody of Chris after Eddie is missing presumed. While they navigate their new family circumstances and fight to stay together despite Eddie's parents' best efforts, a John Doe wakes up in a coma ward with no memory of his own life beyond the knowledge he has a son named Christopher, and somehow he needs to get home. So this is like it's based on a call that didn't actually happen. It's like a...
Yes, it's original rescue scenario.
Yeah, so they're rescuing a kid out of a frozen river, or like a rushing river. Buck is holding the child. Eddie falls in the water and gets washed downstream. And so they don't find him, and they presume that he's died, basically. And it's the first few chapters are just, so heartbreaking. But yeah, obviously Buck, this is after Eddie has told Buck that in his will, Buck is looking after Chris. So, and Buck just sort of takes to that with 2 feet in kind of thing. He's like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And then a bit later, Helena and I've forgotten his dad's name.
Ramon,
that's right. They show up and they're like, okay, we're ready to take Chris now. And Buck's like, no. Like, get stuffed. So
it's so interesting because the 118 would obviously, in this fic, really like to keep looking for Eddie. But the Diazes cut that short. Only after a couple of weeks, they call off the search, said there's no point looking for him. And then when they come looking for Christopher and Buck has custody over him, they immediately move to have Eddie declared dead, because they think that that's what's going to allow them to take Christopher back to Texas with them, not knowing that it actually would have been better for them to have Eddie left presumed missing, presumed dead, because the will wasn't in operation. Yeah. Until he was declared dead. As soon as he declared dead, that guardianship slammed into place, and Buck had custody of Christopher. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Yes. And while, I mean, Chris is just obviously devastated, but also, you know, he's already lost Shannon. Like, he's sort of taking it a little bit in his stride. He has Buck. Like, Buck is there, is like his lifeline now. And so it's just so sweet. They're a lovely little family.
It's so sweet, but it's also, he's going through it as well. There's a point where Buck has to go do parent-teacher, and one of the teachers tells Buck that, like, academically Chris is doing really well, but socially he's an absolute disaster. He just won't talk to anybody. He's stopped being social. And Buck eventually gets it out of Christopher that he just doesn't want to lose anybody else. So he's just not making friends. Because if you don't have friends, you can't lose them.
Oh, so heartbreaking.
And Buck's like, oh my God, like, Chris is like, but I've got you. I don't need anybody else. I've got you, and you're not going anywhere.
Aww.
Oh, honey.
Oh, Chris. Yeah. Yeah, so this fic will break your heart over and over.
It will. And so, but this is dual POV, so while you've got Buck trying to navigate sudden parenthood and the loss of Eddie, who very early on, he's quite open about the fact that he's in love with Eddie. That he's realised that he has been in love with Eddie the whole time, and ironically he never did anything about it because he didn't want to lose Eddie. So you've got him grieving the loss of Eddie, trying to navigate Chris. And then we also have Eddie's chapters where he wakes up in, ironically, nowhere, California, having absolutely no idea who he is.
Yeah, he doesn't remember his name even. But the only thing that he had on him was his St. Christopher medal. He was still wearing that.
Mm.
So, but this nurse lady that has been looking after him in the coma ward, whose name is Magda, she's a great character.
She's amazing. I love her.
Yeah. And she names him Antonio, is that correct?
They go through a couple of saints' names. So she starts with Christopher, and he's like, "No, I'm not Christopher." Like the monologue is like he's pretty sure Christopher's his son, but he doesn't say that out loud. So they start with Jude, who's the patron saint of lost causes, and then they eventually settle on Antonio, who's the patron saint of lost things. So...
That's right. So he is a lost thing at the moment because he doesn't remember anything. But he starts remembering things. It's really well done. Just flashes of, like, he works out that Chris must be his son. I can't remember at what point, like, okay, so this is one that I read quite early on as well, and I didn't reread it today, so now I'm forgetting the details.
Ironically, this was the last fic that I read today, and I finished it at like 8:30. So this one's very fresh in my memory.
You can tell me all about it. He remembers Buck at some point, but he doesn't know who he is. He just remembers that there's someone he's missing, like someone at home that he needs to get back to. Is that right?
There's this beautiful... The way that they describe Eddie in the ward is that he's got like this ache in his chest, and he is convinced that there's something wrong with his heart. He makes them run all of these medical tests, and they're like, no, there's nothing physically wrong with your heart, but he's just convinced that there's something missing. And when they eventually run Antonio's fingerprints, it takes them far too long to figure out that they could probably do that, and they get the results back. They find Eddie Diaz's obituary where he said that he survived by his partner and his son. And so part of the ache is he's realising that he has a partner who is probably
that's right.
this dude named Evan Buckley, who Magda also found when she was doing all of her searches for Eddie Diaz.
All right, we could probably just say at this point that we could try not to spoil the fics, but...
No, if... This will be complete... This is a spoilers abounding. So yes, if you have not read these fics prior to listening to this episode, please pause, go and read them. The list will be up on our socials or in our show notes, and then come back and listen to us talk about them.
Okay.
But yeah, so he doesn't realise that it's that the ache is Buck until he sees Buck, because they eventually do get Eddie back home to LA.
Yeah, and I liked that it's probably quite realistic that it's not like seeing Buck that brings back all of his memories. It's not until a bit later. Like, he's still not sure a lot of things. And I love that when he gets back there and he's sort of with Buck, and then he just assumes that they've been together all this time. And Buck's like really confused by the whole thing. He's like, I don't know how navigate this, because Eddie's like trying to kiss him and stuff, and he's just like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? I mean, Buck could take that to his advantage, but he doesn't, I don't think.
No, and they do reference quite charmingly the consent between the consent issues between Eddie and Buck, being that Buck has all of this knowledge that he could use to his advantage. There's a power imbalance. But he's not going to do it, and Eddie references overboard. It's like, so you're not going to overboard me? And Buck's like, what the hell is overboard? And he goes, oh, it's an amnesia movie where like a woman loses her memory and this guy convinces her that she's his wife and they're married to try and extort money out of her or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Eddie, he's so confused.
It's like so beautifully written though, and so well expressed. Like when he finally gets home and he sees Buck, there's just a sentence that says like, the agonizing sensation in his ribs disappear because he's home, and home is apparently shaped a lot like Evan Buckley.
No.
And then there was that beautiful quote that you dropped into the group chat after you'd read this, where as Buck is trying to navigate the fact that Eddie is very openly in love with him. And he's very confused, and he says to Eddie, like, you don't remember your own name, but you know that you're in love with me. And Eddie's like, I mean, I didn't forget how to breathe. Buck's like, what, you're saying being in love with me is like breathing?
Aww. How are fanfic authors just the most romantic fucking people? Like, it's so gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of kicking your feet and going, oh.
And then the irony is that
like
you can get both in the same fic. Like, you have one fic where, you know, your heart gets ripped out of your chest and stomped on and then shoved back into your chest, and then 5 seconds later you're kicking your feet and squealing and grinning like a fool. Like, God bless fanfic writers.
Yes.
But I love that it's Hildy that brings back his memory.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, Hildy.
Like, he wakes up one morning and Buck is supposed to have turned Hildy off before he left for the day, but Hildy is on and is talking to Eddie, and Eddie is just so pissed off with this machine. And the anger towards Hildy is what triggers the wall to come down and to reveal all his memories. I just love that absolute technophobe Hildy hater Eddie is reminded of his life by Hildy. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, he just needed to get pissed off enough to just remember everything, and Hildy just pushed him over the edge. Yes, I loved that. That was great. So yeah, what a lovely fic.
I read this fic and then immediately was like, yes, I need more of this. I need more of Chris being parented by Buck in Eddie's absence. Unfortunately, because it's only been a couple of years since that episode aired, there's not a lot in that sort of trope in the 911 fandom. Either that, or I just can't navigate AO3's tags properly, or people aren't tagging their fics properly. So I couldn't find any more that were like this. But I think this is like the gold standard.
I was looking at so I was looking up the other day the you know how there's someone on AO3 who works out the ship stats and like the number of fics that have been written in the year for different fandoms and ships and stuff. And Buddie is actually like number 2 in the list for 2025.
Wow.
It's like, let me see, 11,000 new fics this year alone.
Oh my gosh.
And in total, 35,000, which, I mean, we're coming from the Destiel, which is like over 100,000, like over 120,000 now. So it's not, you know, the breadth of available stuff that we have there. But, oh my God, that's a lot. Like 11,000 in 1 year. That's heaps. And, I mean, it's not. The other thing that this list is a little bit skewed by is that, like, Destiel isn't even on this list at all. And I think it's not because people aren't writing Destiel fic at the moment. It's because a lot of Destiel authors locked their fics, and this list is only for open,
okay.
publicly available fic.
That's definitely going to skew, because there's a lot of fics on this list that we're going through today that are locked, so they wouldn't have got counted.
Yeah, so even there's even more than that number. That because the locked ones aren't included. But yeah, I mean, it's a very popular ship nowadays, and there's more and more coming out all the time. So I'm sure that there will be more buck parenting fics out there for you. If not now, then in the future. Yeah, interestingly, the number one is like Jace Victor from Arcane. I'm surprised. There's like 13,000 new fics for them, which is amazing. I still haven't watched series 2 of that. It's so good. The first season was so good.
I still haven't got through the first season. I keep like stalling out after episode 2.
Well, it's like it's full on.
Yeah,
like that show is like. Whew,
I think it's one of those shows that I want to be able to sit down and give my full attention to, and that's the reason. I have very little time to do that.
That's why I haven't watched the second season, because often I watch TV while I'm working, and if I can't sit there and pay attention fully to it, then I don't. So anyway, I'll watch it eventually.
So will I.
And then I'll have a new ship.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, so derailed the conversation.
Yeah, we got derailed. I'll try and get back on. So, like, Leave the Light On is sort of like the first fic that I ever read, but it wasn't the fic that I initially recommended to you. When I gave you the first fics, I actually picked another of HMS Lusitania's fics to read, which was Close My Eyes and Stumble Right Into Your Love. So this one is a rewrite of season 1. Yeah, season 1 and season 2, but you insert Eddie instead of Abby.
This is so clever. Really cleverly done.
Yes, I really enjoyed this one. So the summary for this one says that Eddie's PTSD is just that little bit worse, and when he moves to Los Angeles, instead of joining the LAFD, he joins Dispatch, which is all fine and good, except for this one firefighter he keeps ending up talking to.
Spoiler, it's Buck.
It's very much Buck. But yeah, yes. I did find this one, I think because I keep going for the canon divergent, canon adjacent kind of fics, there are a lot of season rewrites, or not so much rewrites, but rewrites, but they sort of expand or they change sort of tiny things around canon. But this was one that I really enjoyed reading because it was still recognizably canon, but there was enough changes to it that it felt fresh and it felt new.
Yeah, because like Eddie and Abby are in quite different circumstances. In when he's not looking after an elderly mother, or like he's got Chris, but they're in quite different kind of circumstances when Eddie arrives in LA. So, but the things that happen in season 1, like the calls that the 118 go on, are still all there. Like Buck still does the maneuver to rescue that guy off the balcony, and you know, but it's like Eddie kind of going through the
first call that Eddie takes is the snake woman from the pilot.
Yeah, and then he wonders about the fire truck afterwards, right? Like he knows where the fire truck is.
Yeah, because somebody calls and says, "Hey, there's a fire truck parked outside of my building. Do I need to be worried?" And Eddie's like, "Just ask the firefighters." And the caller's like, "There are no firefighters." So he looks up her location and checks CAD to see which vehicle is parked outside her building and finds that it's the 118. So then he calls Bobby. So that's why in this universe, that's why Bobby ends up going up to the building and finding that Buck's stolen it for a hookup, because Eddie dobbed him in.
It's very clever.
Little touches
like
that.
I wonder what he was doing up there. It's like, you probably don't want to know, Eddie. Or maybe you do want to know. I don't know.
And it's also that the sort of the questionable things from season 1 that we sort of brought up when we were watching season 1, like Abby taking Buck's phone number from the file after she sees him on TV for this County Fair Spider-Man, changed in this fic. So Eddie does end up getting Buck's number, but he gets it from Buck directly because he calls the 118 to get in the station house to get in touch with Buck rather than stealing his number, which Buck says, right, you could have just looked it up. And Eddie's like, no, that would be a violation of ethics. I'm like, okay, we see you being
Abby.
very pointed at Abby. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they strike up their friendship over text.
Yes.
And they go through all of the calls in season 1, basically.
Yes.
And then I think later someone assumes that they're a couple because they spend so much time talking to each other.
I think it's Josh. Josh is very pointed. And Sue, I think most of Dispatch, assume that there's something going on. But then you've also got when we get to Stuck, this is my favourite part of this fic, is that we know from in canon, Christopher calls 911 when Abuela falls down and breaks her hip. So in this fic, Eddie is the one to take that call. And so he's on the line with Christopher when the 118 get dispatched to his abuela's house. And Bobby gets on the line and says, we've got an unaccompanied minor. Do you want us to call for welfare? And Eddie's like, no, that's my kid. I will be there very soon. And you hear Bobby go over the radio, wait, you're Eddie? Buck's Eddie? Like, how much has Buck been talking about Eddie that Bobby is immediately assigned ownership?
Is that the first time they meet as well?
Yes.
Because Buck said, they said something about, so are you good looking or something? And Eddie's like, no, I don't think so. And then when they actually meet, Buck's like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. So they're talking over the phone, and Buck is saying like, are you as hot as your voice? And Eddie's like, what are you talking about? Do I have a hot voice? And Buck's like, yeah. And Eddie's like, I don't know, I think I'm normal looking. And so then in the panic to get to his abuela's house, he realizes, shit, this is going to be the first time that I actually see Evan Buckley, and he's going to see me for the first time. And the first thing that Buck says to Eddie is, liar. And it takes them a while, and Eddie's like, why did you say liar when you saw me? You said, dude, you told me you weren't hot.
Yeah.
I don't
remember that with Abby.
No. I love that I've dropped a link in the chat for you. Somebody took those scenes and made a comic book out of them. So you can go...
I think I saw that. I think it might have been linked in the fic itself.
Yeah, actually. At the end of the fic, the author's like,
yeah.
oh my God, somebody made a comic book panels of parts of my fic.
It's so good.
And it is so good. So you get that section where that particular scene where they're talking about the hotness of Eddie's voice versus the hotness of Eddie's like face. And then we get the Buck calling him a liar section in that comic. Mm-hmm. So...
And the other thing I loved about this was seeing... the artist's like rendition of Eddie in the Dispatch uniform.
Yes.
So good.
The other thing that I found really interesting is that HMS Lusitania is a Supernatural fan because we get a reference to Valentine's Day being Unattached Drift to Christmas.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I read that and went, wait. Did I accidentally slip over into Destiel? What's going on here?
There's another fic actually on this list where that happens as well. Anyway, we'll get to it because I've written it down in my notes somewhere.
Yep. Okay.
But so maybe there's more of a crossover then. Like the Destiel to like Buddie pipeline might be quite large, quite direct.
It definitely is.
Excellent. All right, so this particular fic is only 21,000 words, so it's not a super long one, and we've just like basically gone through most of it just then, so please go and read it because it's great.
It's definitely one of those, it's not going to be ripping your heart out and stomping on it, it's going to be like grin on your face, kicking your heels, clapping your hands,
it's
giggling
quite
like
funny
a maniac.
and sweet, yeah.
And so sweet.
I'm pretty sure all of these have happy endings too, so don't worry about that.
Yes.
Where do we want to go next?
Would you like to pick one to talk about
Well,
next?
we can go back to the top, to Ripples All the Way Down, if you like. I just finished reading that again.
Yes, since you just finished reading that one, so that one's going to be fresh in your memory. So yeah, let's do Ripples All the Way Down. So
before we recorded tonight, I basically got stuck rereading this fic because it's so lovely. Like, it's one where you basically want to slap Eddie most of the fic because he's just he's not using words. Like, a lot of the time he doesn't get an opportunity to use his words because when he tries to talk to Buck about how he's feeling, he gets interrupted. Like, there's always something going on that will interrupt him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or he just stops himself and he doesn't.
Yeah, there are many fics on this list where I think my notes were just Eddie is so frustrating.
Yeah. So this one's also from 2021. Go figure. This must have been like the golden time for some of these fics, I think. This is by Iris Wests. The summary says, with some coercion, Buck allows Maddie to set him up on a date. Surprisingly, the date goes well, and it keeps his mind off the unnameable feelings he's been studiously ignoring for his best friend. Until Christopher's science report on Gentoo penguins, no, seriously, sets off a series of events that has him somehow spending more time at the Diaz's side, and he feels like he's going just a little bit insane trying to juggle a burgeoning relationship, his jealousy over Eddie's own new relationship with Anna, and his inability to move on from the place that's been his for 3 years in the Diaz's lives. Oh, and Eddie keeps looking at him like he has something to say, except he never says it. This is the tumultuous road to finding out what Buck truly wants, paved by pebbles. Or Christopher partakes in some parent trapping.
I love that, like, that massive... It could be either that massive summary or it's parent trapping.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I wish they hadn't said that in the summary because, I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's what's happening through most of it. But
yeah.
You don't really find out what Christopher's actually doing until, like, the end. So...
It is very well set up, though.
Oh, it's great. Like, actually reading it through the second time, I picked up a lot more on what was happening because, Eddie keeps fiddling with something in his pocket and I was like, what's he got?
So then the
like,
second time round...
So you don't... The second time I knew what was happening and it meant a lot more. Like, I was like,
yes.
oh.
Like, oh my God, he's found another pebble.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it made some of that foreshadowing, I guess, make a lot more sense. So this is entirely from Buck's point of view.
Yes.
This one's a little bit longer. It's 57,000. So, you get a lot of Buck introspection through this whole thing because poor Buck is just hopelessly in love with Eddie and believes that Eddie is straight and, he's going out with Anna and, like, for a lot of the fic, Buck is in a relationship, even a casual kind of relationship with Kai, who's the guy that Maddie sets him up with.
Maddie through Josh, because he's one of Josh's friends.
Yeah, and he seems like such a really nice guy.
He does.
I hope he found someone in the end after Buck ends up breaking up with him. Spoiler.
I feel like part of me was like, well, maybe he and Anna could get together.
Yeah, maybe.
they can console each other over the Buckley Diaz dynamic duo.
He sounds a lot more interesting than Anna. Sorry, Anna. But, we've already been over this, that she's kind of a boring character.
Unfortunately. Through no
And
fault
she doesn't
of her
get
own.
fleshed out much in this story either, so sorry.
She doesn't, no. Surprisingly, who does get fleshed out is Albert and Taylor. I love those two in this fic.
Fantastic. Yeah. They're like the best, like besties kind of thing, but...
I love Fan and Taylor. And I don't know if it's like Fan and Taylor or if it's like specifically kind of season 4 Taylor before the writers made her lose her mind. Because they had a romance agenda that they wanted to pursue. But Taylor, when she's on fire in these fics, she is amazing.
She kind of seems like a horn dog. Like she's always like trying to get, like sending emoji eggplants and stuff like that. You know, like she's she's a bit crazy, but yeah, hilarious. And they are. I love Albert in these fics is great as well. He always like knows what's going on before Buck does ever.
Yes. And they're hilarious together. I think the implication in this one is that Taylor ends up hooking up with Albert.
Does she?
I think so, because she says something at the end and Albert looks kind of like, oh, thunderstruck.
Right.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like that was where
she was going to go and hook up with Kai at one point.
She was, yes.
After she found out that Buck broke up with him. Anyway, so yes, when Eddie finds out that, like, Buck doesn't tell Eddie about the date that he's gone on with Kai. And then when he finds out, he's, like, really kind of, you know, put out by it. He's basically jealous through this entire fic because Eddie is also in love with Buck, but Buck doesn't realise, and everyone else knows before they do.
It doesn't help that Christopher's meddling. So
oh my god,
the Pebbles thing. So the Gen 2 penguins, the science project. Buck apparently in this universe did a science project on the penguins when he was Christopher's age, and because of his the ADHD brain, he has retained the information about the penguins, and specifically that they mate. The mating dance for the Gen 2 penguins is that the males present the females with pebbles, and the penguin who presents the female with the best pebble is the one that the female would choose to mate with.
Yeah, so, and build a nest.
And they use the pebbles to build a nest. So then, like, Eddie is here listening to Buck and Chris work on this project and hears this story, and then all of a sudden he keeps finding fucking pebbles throughout his house, throughout his car, in his pockets. And so he does the logical thing and he assumes that Buck is trying to court him through pebbles, but then Buck is not saying anything and he is continuing to go on dates with Kai. And so Eddie is losing his fucking mind.
Actually, this would be a really interesting fic told from Eddie's point of view. Because he just wouldn't have a clue what was happening the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh, the pining. This would be a great Pine Fest fic. This is like just so full of pining.
It would. And then not only do you have Christopher meddling that way, but he's meddling much more overtly as well. He's like, oh, Buck is out on a date. Oh, no, my tummy hurts. I need Buck to come back from his date right now and tuck me into bed and make me feel better. Or Eddie's about to go.
And then Buck just agrees and goes over there.
He immediately drops everything. Like, I'm sorry, my kid. And I think at some point he does say, it's like, my kid is sick. I have to go.
No, I think what he says is like, Chris is not well, I need to go. And Kai says, oh, your kid comes first.
That's
and
right.
Buck
Kai
just
assumes.
doesn't, Buck just doesn't correct him. And it's not until later that he realises that it's not, he's not his kid. And when he tells Eddie that, Eddie's like really like, oh, he thinks you're his dad. Like he thinks it's really cute. But this whole time I'm like reading this. Even the second time I read it, I'm like kicking my little feet and squealing and like hurting for Buck so much because he's just pining away. And he feels like he should be, paying more attention to Kai and everything. But how can he when all his brain is just filled up with Eddie? It's just, lovely.
It's gorgeous.
I don't know what else to say about it except just go and read it because it's adorable. He's like, there's things like they spend the night, like Buck has to go over to comfort Chris because he needs him over there to feel better. And then they all sleep together in the lounge room, like on the floor, basically.
The air mattress.
There's a blow-up air mattress.
Yeah, Christopher wants a sleepover. And so Eddie's like, yes, okay, cool, you and Buck can sleep on the air mattress. He's like, no, Dad, it's not a sleepover if you go sleep in your room. You need to sleep on the air mattress with us.
Yeah, except I think Chris is on the couch and Eddie and Buck are on the air mattress. And then they, like, if I was sort of thinking, like, if this had happened in real life, would you just say to the kid, like, no, I'm not sleeping on the air mattress with my friend. Like, this is weird. Like, what are you doing? But no, they just go along with it and they're like, okay, whatever, we'll sleep together.
Both of them are very much like whatever Christopher wants, Christopher gets in this fic.
Yeah,
which,
absolutely.
You know, could be quite problematic in real life, but it's just adorable in this fic.
It is adorable. And then they wake up and, like, octopusing each other in the morning because, of course, they do. And it's sweet.
I do love that this is one of either the only fic or one of the few fics where Bobby finds out about their relationship and he doesn't automatically have, like, paperwork for them to sign. In fact,
that seems to be a Fanon thing, right?
In fact, he says, you know what, this is going to be a shit show. You're going to have to go talk to the union. We're going to have to take this all the way up to the top. It might be a really big issue for you guys to be on the same shift. You might not even be allowed to stay in the same house. We might need to move one of you if you're going to continue to work, if you're going to continue to be in a relationship. And I just went, that's really, like, Bobby's like, I will fight for you, but you need to understand that this is going to be a big deal and it's going to be hard.
Yeah. I wonder if it's probably feels more realistic.
It does. I feel like most fics just have Bobby's already filled out the paperwork and it's just sitting in his desk drawer. And he's just waiting for them to tell him, which I feel like, this idea that two people in a relationship in this sort of situation working in the same team would be highly problematic.
Yeah. Just not just for the risk factor, but I mean, they already do it. They already take extra risk for each other. There's nothing changed there.
I don't think that the fact that they're, actually admitted to each other that they're in love with each other and they're in a committed relationship is going to make Buck any more crazy if something happens to Eddie. He's already, goes to, trying to dig Eddie out of the dirt. Putting a ring on it is not going to make that any worse.
Yeah. Anyway, I love this one. This is one of my favourites out of the whole list. So.
It's very sweet.
Anything else to say about that one, or shall we move on along?
Let's move on. What about if we do, since we loved Albert in this one, what about if we go to another one which has got top tier Albert as a supporting character, which is at LAFD_overheard.
Yes.
So this one was one of the recommendations from Kira. So thank you very much for recommending this one, Kira.
This is a fantastic one, yeah.
So let's see if I can find it. So this one was written by, I apologize if I'm going to butcher this name, Fabian. It was, interesting enough, this was written 21st of August 2021, and it was just a text fic. And then in the comments under the fic, somebody said, hey, if you actually want it to look like Instagram posts, I can help you. And then 4 days later, the fic got updated and all of the text blocks that were meant to represent the Instagram post actually became Instagram posts. This commenter helped the author embed images, and it's very effective. It looks very good when you're reading this one, compared to, say, when we get to, if we discuss the one that your sister-in-law recommended, which was Those Two Firefighters, which is another social media kind of chat fic, but it doesn't have the images embedded. Yeah,
it just makes it feel a little bit more real.
Yes. So the summary for this, for LAFD Overheard, is that the team discover an Instagram account based on what the public has overheard from their calls. Hen and Chim become amateur detectives in their quest to uncover the context of every quote, but this becomes difficult when it's increasingly clear they've been left in the dark about something. It is based on the account overheard_LA, and me, i.e. the author, deciding with all the insane things that the 118 say on calls, someone should be recording them for posterity.
I mean, they do have a habit of just discussing their personal lives in the middle of treating somebody.
Which we have 100% called the writers out on. Like, you don't have Hen and Chim doing, like, deep dives into their screwed up relationships while you're treating a patient.
Yes, but you kind of have to for time. They don't have time to, like, sit down and actually have a conversation, so they do it while they're on call.
Yeah,
but oh, yeah. Well, at first I thought, when I was reading this, I thought that they were originally reporting stuff that they'd heard on the radio, and I'm like, how can they overhear them speaking on calls? And then I remembered that they do just talk, like, about stuff while they're on calls, so totally someone could have overheard it and just written it down.
And just remembered that they had, like, 2 firefighters talking about, like, the kid's lizard.
Yeah.
And then had the wherewithal to send it through to this Instagram account.
Well, I thought the characterization of all of the characters in this fic was fantastic. Like, they all have just such... the reactions that they all have to the things that are shared on the account are so good. Like, you can totally imagine them actually doing it in the show.
Yes, I love the characterization. So each character has their own section where they... where it goes through either the character finding the Instagram account or a particular post the Instagram account has put up. Especially, we were talking about Albert. I love Albert's section because the author has taken such care to write it as though it were the character of Albert that we see on screen. So there's very few contractions. The sentences seem very stilted, as if it's coming from someone who English is a second language for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Albert spoke like that at first. Like, when he first arrived, he spoke like that. But I feel like later more recently, at the end of season 4, he speaks a bit more easily, like in contractions and whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's really effective in this because, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Buck sends him a text and he says, see, like CYA. And Albert's like, what does that mean? What does CYA mean? And Buck's like, oh, sorry, it means see you later, lol, or something. And Albert's just like, what? But anyway.
And then he has a little note in his notes app, which is all of the slang that Buck uses that he kind of records in his own little Buck dictionary. So that we can learn all of this slang. But it's so sweet. It's like Albert is upset because he is seeing he's also on Instagram, and he's seeing all the posts from his friends and family back in Korea celebrating Chuseok. And Buck finds out that's why Albert's upset, so they arrange for a Chuseok festival, the feast, the dinner. Bobby puts it on to make Albert feel at home, which I think is a lovely touch, because we don't see like the Korean side of Chim very often, or if at all. So that was a nice touch in this fic. But then Albert is also the one that breaks the news for the readers anyway, that that there's something going on with Buck and Eddie.
He finds out first. Yeah, he's the first one.
Because of the damn bed.
Yeah. Yes, that's so good. And then he promises that I love that he says to Buck, I won't tell anyone, like, I promise. And Buck's like, yeah, but you're a Han, and they can't keep secrets. Like, Chim is terrible at keeping secrets. He's like, no, I'm not like him. I can keep the secret. And he does, I think. Like, I don't think anyone finds out until close to the end, right? Yeah. No one else finds out.
Funnily enough, I think I was rereading this fic today in preparation, and I seem to remember in one of our episodes me saying something about the fact that keeping secrets is a Han family ability. It's like Chimney's inability is from his mother's side. The Hans are very good at keeping secrets. And then I'm reading this fic going, oh, that's where I got that from. I have
that's
no
where you got it
thoughts.
From, yeah.
I am just like 50 million different fics stuffed in a coat, just spewing out quotes as appropriate.
I'm sure I'm that way with Destiel fic as well. Yes, and the other thing the other character I really loved reaction in this one is Bobby, because he hates that he doesn't like that the team is so into this LAFD overheard thing because they're all trying to work out who said what quote. Like they're trying to pin it down, even when it's people who aren't in the 118. They're like hunting people down and working out, is this you?
Like there's a mention that Chim and Hen have been with the LAFD for so long that they met so many other members of the other houses that if they don't recognise a quote immediately, it's just a DM or a text to someone in another house going, is this you?
Yeah.
So I think they have a pretty good track. She and Chim have a pretty good track record of figuring out who said what. But it's all of the quotes coming through that are about a couple, especially like talking about someone's kid, that's got them absolutely flummoxed.
And I feel like Bobby works it out before
Bobby figures it out
anyone
so
else.
quickly.
Yeah, but he doesn't say anything. He just keeps quiet.
Yep.
Excellent story. I love this one. And I feel like this is a rated teen. So there's no sexy times. No. There's no funny business. It's just the two of them being super cute and everyone else finding out and being all, oh my God, how long has this been going on for?
Yeah, I guess you could say this is like established relationship, but it's like background established relationship. So it's not about how they got together or what their relationship is. It's everybody else finding out about the relationship and how they react.
It's not a very long one. It's only, nearly 9,000 words, and that doesn't include the text that's in the images. So
yeah,
and there's not a lot of text in the images, so it's a nice shorty.
It's a very cute one. Yes.
I like one of the tags says basically the vibes of Jinx or Treasure Hunt.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Yeah, that gives you the feel of it.
Yeah.
And the other one we may as well go on to those two firefighters while we're talking about social media fix. So those two firefighters is a longer one. It's like 75,000 words. But it's also teen. This is by Dark Fairy Tale. And there is a hashtag on Instagram. Sorry, I'm just checking there actually is Instagram. Yes, it is Instagram. Instagram seems to be the social platform of choice for 911 in general, right?
Yeah.
They're always using it for stuff on the show and whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a hashtag, those two firefighters, and it's basically just people who have seen Buck and Eddie together and assuming that they're a couple or trying to work out. And it starts with Becca, who is the girl who had the fly larvae in her cheek. That horrible, like when Buck is like pulling the maggot out, but maggot. And all of the DMs that were going off on the screen, that's how it all starts. Yeah. She's live on Instagram at the time. So this little community, like a fandom springs up around those two firefighters, and these people in the on the app are like chatting with each other, like they've got like a little DM who they're like sharing stories about when they saw the two firefighters and what they were doing and what they were saying and stuff.
Yes, so not only is there like the hashtag, which is hashtag those two firefighters, but there is even like a Tumblr blog with someone who is like I think their handle is Captain of the Armada, and they are the repository for all of the sightings.
Yes.
And they do all of the updates, like we finally got the names for those two firefighters.
It is like real person fan fiction, but like
within
to the extreme. It's it's so funny.
I will very quickly say that I don't know how many chapters there are. Let me just quickly pull it up. On Archive of Our Own. So there are 8 chapters on this fic currently, but we stopped reading at chapter 5 because chapter 6 kicks off with plot lines from season 5.
Yeah, so it basically follows all of the calls and events from season 2 and carries on past the end of season 4 I just got up to the end of the chapter where Eddie gets shot and whatever. And then I flicked over to the next chapter and went, oh, there's more. So you can read up to if you're avoiding spoilers like me, read up to the end of chapter 5, did you say?
Yeah, chapter 5.
And just stop there. But I think, I'll have to remember this fic and come back to it to read the rest of it at some point when I'm up to there because, it keeps going.
Yeah, chapter 5 has a very nice conclusion to it, so it can be read and stopped. I did not feel like, oh my god, I'm left on a cliffhanger, I don't know what's coming up next. It's almost as though the writer got to chapter 5, went, well, I'm done, and then the show kept going and they went, you know what, I'll keep adding chapters as we go.
Yeah, rather than adding, like, epilogue chapters or, like, a whole new, like, fic. They just added extra chapters.
But one of the things I really like about this fic is that it involves the characters from 911 Lone Star, which is not something that I ever thought that I would say, considering that my hatred for Lone Star is well known. But we do, not only do we see sort of the events of season 2 to 4 through the eyes of the general public as they're tracking these two idiots on social media, but after the crossover episode when Buck and Eddie go down to Texas and they meet Marjan particularly, the 126 start keeping tabs on the two of them through her Instagram account.
Yeah, she's like one of the chief, like, those two firefighter shippers, I think.
Yes, she's like constantly, whenever Buck and Eddie post something on Instagram, she'll add the hashtag those two firefighters so that everyone else can follow along with them.
Yes.
And they were very cute. I loved that Judd, even when he's just talking to his own team, is continuing to call Hen Miss Henrietta.
Yeah.
And there's a point where they were talking about them, and it's like, is Miss Henrietta and Hollywood and dumbass, which I'm taking as further evidence that Buck is dumbass and TK is dumbasser.
Yeah.
At which point TK goes, wait, I'm dumbasser?
Yeah.
And it's cool because you have Marjan talking to Eddie about, like, have you seen this shit? Like, what is going on with you two? And then TK is reaching out to Buck going, what the hell is going on with you two? Like, even Carlos sees what's going on with you two.
Oh, it's so funny. And then, like, it takes them a while, but I feel like one of them finds the hashtag and, reads a bunch of posts and then is like, okay, I have to tell. I think it's Buck who finds it and decides he has to tell Eddie about this. And then they don't tell anyone else about it for a while. Mm-hmm. And they just start trolling everyone for a bit. Am I remembering that correctly?
And then it gets worse because, like, they find the hashtag those two firefighters, but then Eddie finds the Tumblr blog from Captain of the Armada with everything, like all of the video footage. And then he accidentally likes that post, which sends everyone in social media in a tailspin because they're like, oh my God, we've been perceived.
It's a really good encapsulation of, like, fandom life.
Yes.
Like, I felt very seen as I was reading it. And I'm pretty sure they're not together at the, like, when they discover the blog and everything, they're not a couple yet, right?
No, they're
and then this sort of kicks them into thinking about, oh, maybe there is something.
Because they're watching, at some point they're watching videos and Eddie sort of looks at Buck and goes, do we always stand that close together? I'm like, yes, you always stand that close together.
So it's at this point that I am reading this going, I'm going to have to go back and watch some of the older episodes and see how close they stand together because it wasn't obvious to me at the time. But it was the same way when I found something that was related to Destiel and then I had to, like, go back and watch the episodes and go, oh my God, yes, I see it now.
I think like 90% of that is just like Oliver has no control over his body most of the time. Like, he can't walk in a straight line. He can't stand up straight. So he just tends to, like, lean into whoever he's, like, next to in a scene, which most of the time just happens to be Ryan. So that's why you get, like, him bumping into Ryan and them knocking shoulders as they're walking, or him leaning into Ryan, just because it's Oliver. It's not Buck, it's Oliver. It just has the rub-on effect that it looks like it's Buck.
Adorable.
But the other thing that I thought was really cute about this was that once they discovered like that they had this social media following for the two of them, they became kind of hyper aware of the way people were reacting to them in real life. So they became really aware of like when they're trying to rescue somebody, and they're absolutely starstruck because it's those two firefighters.
Like, you're those two firefighters, and they're like, yes. And but then I think that might have been the point where one of them, like Eddie, knows and Buck doesn't know or something, and they're like. Oh,
but then there's a point later in the fic where they're at a coffee shop and they're holding hands, like once they got over themselves and they actually started being together. And they know that people are looking at them. And they both go and searching the hashtag for photos or comments about them holding hands in the coffee shop, and they realise that everybody gave them their privacy.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like they've realised that we're together now, and so they're going to leave us alone. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet.
Where in reality that would not be the case. They would be like...
They would have been blasted.
Probably mobbed. Yeah.
But like this is the idealised version of fanfic.
Yeah, yes. Well, we would hope that would happen, but
or
we all know that it would never.
Or we get up to the end of Survivors and all of a sudden the 118 are inundated with flowers and cards and gifts because the footage of Buck and Eddie, or Eddie getting shot, Buck rescuing him, sort of goes viral. And so everybody who was following the hashtag those two firefighters sent condolences and sent thanks to the 118 for those two.
Aww. I hope that I remember to continue this fic because I really like more of it. But I can't continue because I'll get spoiled.
I'll put a reminder in my calendar for when we get to the end of season 5. Hey, you can read the next chapter in this fic now.
Yay. All right, what have we got left?
Do we want to do an AU?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go. Go another short AU. How about I'll always be a bridesmaid. I'll always be a bridesmaid and I'll never take one home. Which is a short AU. It's written by Pale Redhead in a Sci-Fi. It's just under 7,000 words. And it is a fake dating AU.
This is great. I love
this one. This one's so cute. So the summary for this one is another one where it's a quick quote from the fic and then a quick summary. So it says, it starts off with, quote, "I told you my partner was coming," the man said, shifting awkwardly. He turns and gestures towards Buck. "Here he is. Oh shit, it's happening. It's happening. The universal rom-com allocation system has finally found him and deemed him worthy. He is going to be the best fake boyfriend this beautiful man has ever seen." Or, "Eddie needs a fake boyfriend, and Buck is about to deliver the Oscar-worthy performance of a lifetime."
This is a shorty as well.
It's very short. It is, like I said, it's under 7,000 words. It is pre-canon. So at this point, Buck is still on his quest to find himself. And at some point, finding himself involves him being in Texas for a wedding. I think it's one of the guys that he met on the ranch when he was being a cowboy. Has finally got married and invited Buck to the wedding. So Buck is standing in like this function center, this event hall, when this beautiful man just runs up to him at I think he's pouring punch, the punch bowl, and just says, "You're my boyfriend." And Buck's like, "Yeah, okay. I'm in."
Yeah. He's so on board with this.
He's
just bored out of his brain at whatever actual, like, the wedding that he's supposed to be at. I don't know if it's the same wedding. Are they at the same wedding, or is it a different wedding?
I think it's the cowboy's wedding, but it's Sophia's rehearsal dinner. So same function center.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because the wedding is like the next day. But Eddie is at the rehearsal dinner. He is Sophia, his little sister's. He is one of her bridesmaids.
That's right.
But I just love this one because it's so cute and it's so witty, and Buck is just absolutely like, I know all of the rom-com tropes. Maddie made me watch all these videos. I am absolutely going to be the best fake boyfriend you've ever seen. And then he keeps like upgrading Eddie, like, oh, you're about to get the homophobic parents deluxe package.
Eddie can't believe his luck. He's like, where have you been all my life, basically? But yes, he charms all of Eddie's family. Yeah. Like his, like, abuela, everybody, they all are grilling him about, because they didn't know that Eddie had a boyfriend.
They didn't know that Eddie was gay, and so Buck's like, oh shit, well, you got an automatic upgrade to the coming out package. I'm so sorry. Eddie's like, you know what?
And later he's like, I just came out to your whole family. And Eddie's like, thank you. Like, yeah, and he's like, oh, because Eddie had to go off to the rehearsal dinner, so Buck was stuck with the family. That's why he was charming them all. And it's just so cute. And then I think it takes them a little while to actually get into bed together, but they do.
Yeah, so they're at this reception, which apparently has there must be like a hotel complex or something, and Eddie's like, you know, you don't have to come. Thanks man for, you know, hanging out with my family, covering my ass while I was doing bridesmaids duties. You don't have to come to the wedding. And Buck's like, fuck that. I want to see the wedding. I've heard all of this family tea. I want to see what happens at the wedding. But he doesn't know any of the details. So one of Eddie's cousins sees Buck kind of lurking in the lobby and just takes him up to Eddie's room and just lets him into Eddie's bedroom, into Eddie's hotel room. Just on the assumption, like, that's where he's supposed to be staying. And Buck's like, well, you know, I can just go and sleep in my car because that's what I was going to do. And Eddie's like, get the fuck in the bed. You're not sleeping in your car.
Yes. It's so cute. They just jump into it.
Both feet.
Absolutely.
Not looking back. And then at the end, like after the wedding, they sort of go their separate ways, and Buck is like literally halfway down the interstate where he's like, no, I need to go back. I don't have this guy's, I don't have his number. I need to go back and get his number. I need to continue things with this man. And he gets back to the hotel in time to hear Eddie like leaving voicemail after voicemail after voicemail.
It's so cute. They both just realise after they've parted that they can't be parted.
It's incredibly cute. It's incredibly light. It's incredibly fluffy. There's no angst. It's very witty.
Yes. Well, Buck is definitely like full sunshine in this fic.
He is. He's living his best rom-com life in this one, and I adore it.
Yes. Yes. And most of it's just because he saw Eddie and thought he was the most beautiful man he's ever met, and then Eddie said, you're my boyfriend, and he went, okay, I'm in.
I'm not doing anything better, and you're gorgeous, so let's go.
Yeah, all it needed was like What a Man playing in the background, and it would have been just right.
Okay, so I think that's a good segue into Leading with the Left.
Yes, so this Leading with the Left is by Let Me Tell You About My Feels, which is an excellent username. I do like that. This one was written in 2020, so it's slightly older than the others. Definitely explicit. Lots of fucking in this one. When the summary says, when Buck said he was a bartender in South America, what he actually meant was stripper in Mexico. And when Eddie said, what's your problem? What he actually meant was, is this about the time you gave me a lap dance? In other words, there's a few things the 118 doesn't know about Buck or Eddie, or Buck and Eddie's relationship.
So this one was one that Kira had on her recommendation list. It's also one that So Let Me Tell You About My Feels is a very prolific 911 fanfic author, and they have so many of their fics that I could have recommended to you. And I chose this one mostly because I think it was the first explicit and like overtly explicit buddy fic that I read. So with all
a lot
of my
of them tend to be teen or
mature, like they'll get
yeah.
a very vague reference to sex, whereas this one, like literally the first 5 chapters are sex scenes. Mm-hmm. And so I thought you deserved a little spice.
Yes, thank you. It was very spicy.
It was very spicy.
Yeah.
So leading with the left, the author's note says that when people are doing dancing and you have a leader and a follower, the leader usually starts off on the right. So if you're leading from the left, that means you're going backwards, which is exactly what is going on in this fic, because they start fucking and then they end up in the relationship. Whereas most of the fics, it's like the slow burn, the pining, then the sex comes after they've confessed their feelings for each other.
Yeah. So Eddie's in Mexico for a Buck's party of his, or whatever the Americans call it, a bachelor party.
Bachelor party, yeah.
Yep, Buck's party in Australia. And they're at a strip club and Buck is there. And somehow, like, I think Buck sees that Eddie's watching him and one of his cousins actually pays for Buck to come and give Eddie a lap dance.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yes. That's exactly what happens. That one of the cousins realizes that Eddie just cannot take his eyes off Buck. So he's like, oh, you like that one. Let me get him over here for you.
Yeah, and then basically gets Eddie off in front of everybody, which is a bit rude of that cousin to do, and they probably got what they deserved in having to witness that.
But yeah, so Buck gives Eddie a lap dance. Eddie gets a happy ending out of the lap dance. And Buck decides to give Eddie his phone number. And so the next 4 days is Eddie doing all of the wedding stuff and then coming back to Buck's apartment and then fucking their brains out.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's pre-canon, so it's part of Buck's, like, again, trying to find himself. He was a bartender in Peru for like a month, and then he ends up being the stripper in Mexico. And he eventually makes his way to LA.
Yes, this is like a time skip.
Yeah.
Several chapters in.
Yeah. And then Eddie's story is pretty much the same. He's in El Paso with Chris. His parents are being absolute pains in the ass, so he uplifts Chris, takes him to LA, joins the firefighters, joins the LAFD, gets stationed with the 118. So the reason that I brought up like the Waterman scene, so they do the Waterman scene. It kicks in at that scene where Bobby is about to introduce the new member of the 118, but instead of like Waterman playing when Buck turns around to see the new member, he turns around and he's like, what the fuck is Texas doing here? Because that's what he called Eddie, because he didn't know his name, he just called him Texas.
Yeah, he didn't even know his name.
And then Eddie's walking out of the glass locker room having finally put his shirt on after, 2 weeks of getting his shirt on, and he just looks at Buck and goes, what the fuck is the stripper doing here?
Yes. Yeah, and so all of their beginning of their tension that they have at the beginning of that season is all just awkwardness because they are trying not to address, like, what happened previously.
There was also like an extra like layer where they had 4 days of mind-blowing non-stop sex, and then after Eddie went back to Texas, he tried to call Buck again but realized that it was an international number, so he couldn't call Buck. And then Buck tried to call Eddie and got Christopher on the phone. So he assumed that Eddie had like a wife and a family, and he wasn't going to be the other man in Eddie's life. Mm-hmm. So he's pissed at Eddie for cheating on his wife with Buck, and Eddie's pissed that he didn't hear from Buck for like 6 months or something. But then they finally they get over it. The miscommunications get cleared up. They realize that, Eddie wasn't cheating. Buck did try to reach out. And so season 2 continues on, but with these two fucking the entire time.
It takes a while for them to work out the differences, I think. right? So they keep, the fucking goes on, but then neither of them realize how the other one actually feels about them for ages.
Yes.
So that they definitely have gone about the whole thing in a backwards way.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so good though. Like it's well, apart from being extremely hot, the actual,
oh my God,
like the rewriting,
very hot.
Yes, the rewriting of the seasons, like because we've got season like 2, 3, and 4, basically the events, and it's done in a great way that brings their relationship kind of into it. Like when you're watching the show, you've got obviously everyone else's storylines that have to be shown, but this is like a real focus on the two of them and their journey through these seasons.
Yeah, but then slightly different journey because there's no lawsuit arc in this fic.
Yeah, they do change a few things.
We get the Buck finding out that Bobby is the reason that the Buck is not being allowed to come back, and instead of storming out and getting a lawyer and suing the LAFD, I think he gets bent over a table and his brains get fucked out by Eddie. Yes. And so then in like the post-coital haze, he drags Buck into Bobby's office and like locks the door behind him and says, "You two work out your issues." And they do.
That's right, yeah.
So there's no lawsuit arc, which also means that there's no Fight Club arc because Buck is then available to pick Eddie up when he gets arrested.
Yeah. And then they go and have some more fucking...
And they go have more sex.
Doesn't need to punch anyone.
But what I will say is that like there is an inordinate amount of sex in this fic, but it never gets old because there are some fics, there are some like traditionally published books, or self-published books, which will have like this level of sex in it, and I'll get to like the 5th or 6th sex scene. I'm like, okay. You know what? There's only so many ways you can insert tab A into slot B. I'm just going to skip through and get back to the plot. Like, give me back to the plot. This one, the insertions of the tabs into the slots was very hot and very different every single time, and I appreciated it.
Yes. And then they do get things like I've forgotten the name of the episode where they all end up high with the brownies. Dosed, and they're like basically trying to have sex, but they're so high that they can't. I think they manage it, but it's like it's just so funny, like
the casual frottage.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I love that one because it's that particular part because you get like the Buck's inner monologue, and he's high on LSD, and except it's not internal. Everything that we're seeing as his internal monologue, Athena can hear because he's saying it out loud.
Yeah. She says, "Does he know he's saying this out loud?" And
like, no, because at some point he starts going off about how hot Eddie looks in handcuffs and how Buck really likes handcuffs, but he'd prefer like fuzzy handcuffs that don't hurt. Which then comes back later where I think he does get handcuffed to the bed by Eddie.
Right. But yeah, so they work it out eventually. Like they work out their feelings.
Yeah, they finally get the feelings part of their relationship. Like the physical part is fine, but they finally get to the feelings part.
This is one of the I don't think there's any other fic in this list where Shannon actually makes an appearance, but she is in this fic for a little while. That in the part where the school stuff, like when they have to go and sign the things for the school.
Yeah, but
I don't think this involves like her dying, right? I think
she makes an appearance in several fics, but sometimes they get changed. So in Close My Eyes and Stumble, which was the Eddie is in LAFD, she divorces Eddie when she leaves, so they've eliminated Shannon from that storyline. And in this one, Shannon does come back in the school side of things, and Buck does encourage Eddie to sort of try the relationship again for the sake of Christopher, but instead of falling into bed with Shannon, he falls back into bed with Buck. So there's no sexual relationship with Shannon. They try to rekindle the marriage, and then Shannon turns him down and leaves again.
Yeah.
I think there's another one we read where Shannon does actually die.
But I think it's pre-story.
No, she dies in fic because Bobby calls Buck when it happens and says, like, Eddie needs you. So he ends up at the hospital supporting Eddie during that scene. And if I can try and figure out which story that was. It's in this fic.
Okay.
It's in this fic. Bobby calls Buck after Shannon dies to be there for Eddie. Once again, Bobby equals Buddy Shipper #1. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, this one does have like quite a few big time jumps.
Yes.
Not just like at the beginning where they all move back, they go back to the States, but like between each chapter, I feel like there's like they jump forward in the story to different events.
The author has picked kind of the key Buddy episodes from that season. It's like, that's the one I'm going to write on.
Yeah.
This author, let me tell you about my feels again. Lots and lots and lots of excellent fics. There were many that I could have suggested for you to read. And there are some that I will, if you liked their style of writing, there are some non-season 5 spoilery that I can recommend for you. But like I said, I thought you deserved a little bit of spice. So we went with this one instead. And the fact that Kira also said, hey, read this one, I've gone, okay, yes, I was valid in recommending this one for you. Sadly, they're not in the fandom anymore. They have moved on and they're working on their own original works. So,
well, that's always a good thing.
Yes.
We like it when good writers get money for their work.
Yes. I mean, sad for the fanfic, but also great because if you do like their writing, you can go and like support them as a writer by, purchasing their original stories. Yes.
If you can work out that has happened. Because often they don't. Like there's a bunch of authors that used to come to like the Brisbane Writers Festivals and stuff who at one point they admitted that they had written fan fiction, but they would not tell us what fandom it was in or what their username was or anything. And we're like, oh, come on, please.
I feel like that's changing with all of the dreary fic that's being posted. I feel like, and like how overt the publishing houses are being like, this was a dreary fic.
Yeah.
Or a Dramini fic.
Yeah.
That it feels like people are more accepting of, oh, you write fan fiction, or this story was a fan fiction at one point.
Yeah, I think there's still a little bit of stigma against, like, I think it's the 50 Shades effect. Like, oh, that was fan fiction, it must therefore be terrible.
Is it 50 Shades, or is it like the shades of Anne Rice swooping down to sue everybody?
Yeah, maybe that too.
And like back in the days where you had to put the disclaimer at the top of your fic, like, I own nothing, these are not my characters, please don't sue me for writing this.
Anyway, back to 911. Anything else to say about this particular?
No, except that it's very hot and everyone should read it.
Yes, if you need some spice, definitely give this one a try.
Definitely, it's highly recommend.
Okay, I think one of the only ones we haven't gone through on the list yet is Hot Ghost Problems, which is one of my other favourites. So, Hot Ghost Problems is by E.B. Jameston. And this is an AU, but it's like a canon AU. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's like it's canon setting, but it's an alternative, like...
Yeah, so it's Eddie point of view, so it's like it's canon if you removed Buck from canon. Because there are still references to the emergencies and the storyline from canon as we know it. It's just Buck is not a part of it. Because in this fic, Buck is dead and a ghost. And Eddie can see him because Eddie's a witch.
Yes. And a lot of fic that and books in general that I read and stories that I write involve magic use, because that's what I love. And so when I read the beginning of this one, and I found out that Buck was a ghost and Eddie was like a witch who was trying to send him across to the after, I was just absolutely in love with this story. So Eddie tries to... The great thing is that the Diaz family are like a dynasty of witches, I guess.
Yes.
And they work with nature to, keep the balance and all that kind of thing. And so Eddie keeps ringing his sisters and to like work out what he should do, because he doesn't know. He keeps seeing the ghost of Buck, who was in the 118 before he came along.
Yeah, so Eddie was actually
missing.
hired to replace Buck, who was in an accident, like a work-related accident. They were doing a rescue on a cliff, and he fell and got swept away, and so...
They never found his body, which is important for the story.
Yes.
But then when Eddie tries to send his spirit away, Buck just ends up attached to him instead.
Yes.
And he does things that normal ghosts don't do, like showing up at Eddie's house and stuff. So
he's corporeal. So like at some point, Eddie is cleaning one of the rigs with like a bucket and a sponge, and he looks over and Buck has joined him, and Buck has his own bucket and his own sponge, which is like an exact copy of Eddie's bucket and sponge. And Eddie's like, okay, cool, he's pretending to clean, he's not going to be able to do anything, that's fine. But then after the conversation, after Buck disappears, he realizes that all the mud that was on the rig where Buck was cleaning is gone. So Buck can manipulate reality. Which ghosts absolutely aren't supposed should not be able to do.
Yeah, and his sisters are like freaking out, going, "No, we need to come down there and help you send him away. Like, this is bad." And Eddie's like, "No, I kind of like him." Yeah. And he's got really blue eyes, and his sister is like, Adriana's like, "Oh my God, is he hot?" And it's like, "No, I didn't say that."
I love that Adriana can see him, but Sophia cannot. Yeah. And I don't know whether that's a power thing, because Adriana is apparently going to be the next elder for this particular conglomerate of witches, and so that's why she can see Buck, but Sophia can't.
I just love the way that this story developed and built, and kind of the ending is really epic, and like it was just a great story, really well put together.
The battle. So the battle with Adriana and Athena, and the before, it was so like, not only are the Diaz's a dynasty of witches, but apparently Athena's bloodline are also witches, and Athena is a very, very powerful witch.
Of course she is, though. Like,
of course she
is. Like, when you get to that bit and it is revealed, like, okay, there's some major spoilers here, I guess, because that reveal is amazing.
Yes.
And they're like sitting there going, how did we ever doubt that Athena would be a powerful witch?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole point is that the longer Buck stays in this world, like, the more of a target he will be for the evil creatures that are in after and want to get to this world. So he's going to be like a magnet for them. And then they have to work out what's going on with him before those evil things come across. So, yeah, it's just really such a great story. And the other thing that I love about this story is the way the author writes it. Like, it's almost whimsical sometimes in the way that the banter between the sibling, like Eddie and his sisters, and like, or like Buck will say something and then Bobby will like echo what he's saying, even though he can't hear Buck. And like, it's just so well written.
We I already talked about this in the group chat before, that one of my favorite, it's just like this throwaway reference that does get picked up later, is that Buck follows Eddie home and is like in his house when Eddie is talking to Adriana on like FaceTime, and Adriana is absolutely freaking out because she laid the wards around Eddie's house, and no ghost should be able to get through. And Buck's like, "Oh, the badgers? Yeah, they let me in." And like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like the ring of 20 badgers outside your house. Yeah, they let me in. And it's just the fact that the wards present to Buck as animals. So they start off as badgers, and he goes on this tangent about the difference between American badgers and European badgers, and apparently he's quite specific that the badgers outside their house are European badgers. And at some point they become snakes, and then they become like goshawks.
And Adriana's like, what the hell are you talking about? My wards are not badgers.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's absolutely epic. The world building is done so well that even though it's so completely removed from sort of canon, it's very like magical and fantastical. It makes absolute sense, and it's really easy to follow along with what's going on. And with every reveal, you're like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. I'm absolutely going along with this.
Yeah, and of course, naturally, Chris also turns out to be a very powerful witch as well, and is fantastic in this story.
I love this. So, like, not only is that epic battle where, like, they find Buck, and he's been taken over by one of the primordial evil spirits, and so you've got Adriana and Athena who have astrally projected to where Eddie is in his magic. To try and protect Buck. And then Chris just shows up, and Eddie's like, what the hell are you doing here? It's like, it's recess time. I thought you needed me. I've come to help you. And he just looks at the evil spirit that's got Buck, and he's like, Buck, I've got like 10 minutes before recess is over. It's science next. I really need to get back. Let's move it on. Come on. Just like,
yeah, come on, get rid of the spirit. Like, hurry it up here. Oh, so
we're
good.
on a time crunch here, Buck. Come on.
Yeah. And actually, this is the other fic where they had like a supernatural reference, because at one point, I can't remember who it is that actually says this. It might be Buck. Anyway, they're talking about how warlocks can like change people's paths, and you can make a deal with them to get something you want, but in return they change. And it's asking like signing a contract or kissing a crossroads demon, and I'm like, I'm doing the Leo like meme, like supernatural.
And Eddie's like, don't talk about demons. We don't talk about demons.
Oh, that's right. It's a conversation between Buck and Eddie. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, because Buck calls Eddie a warlock, and he gets like very, very
he gets really upset about it. Yeah,
because in this particular world building, it's not women are witches and men are warlocks. It's witches do one very particular thing and warlocks do one very particular thing, and it's not like a gender divide.
Yep.
So
yes,
very
and
much
warlocks are the bad guys.
Yes, very much. So of course Doug is the warlock in this one, which just like makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. Perfect. I hope that, like, I don't know how this fic would have come to be, like, what was the thing that gave the author the idea for this, but that just lined up so perfectly with Doug and Doug coming back, stabbing Jim, leaving him on the ground for, like, weeks, and taking off with Maddie. And then Eddie ends up being the one to go and rescue her, because, I mean, Buck can't do much because at this point he's a ghost, but he's following Maddie, and like, oh, it's so well done. I loved it.
Yeah, but he's feeding Eddie information, so like Eddie gets put in hospital jail after they find Chim.
Oh yeah, we still get hospital jail
because he's trying to get into Chim's phone, and Buck is coming back to the hospital going like, they just shot someone at a gas station, like you need to get a move on. So we're still getting the canonical references and the timeline happening sort of through Buck.
Yeah, and that's when Athena like reveals her powers, and then because Buck's like, just tell her I'm here, and yeah, it's great.
Yep. And then you get the other reveal where they finally get Buck. They're at the hospital at sort of the end of the fic, and Athena makes some kind of threat that Buck needs to like be more careful or she'll hex him into like next week. And Eddie's sort of looking around going, why are you talking about hexing in front of this room full of people? And the nurse is just like, I've heard worse. And Bobby, he looks at Bobby, and Bobby's like, I'm married to an incredibly powerful witch. You think I don't know about hexes? I'm like, okay.
Yes. Oh, so apparently they do communicate after all sometimes.
But yeah,
I can't imagine that Athena's like getting beat up storyline happened in this universe, because I doubt that she would have she would have just smacked that guy down without a problem, I imagine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So if you like kind of the Diazes as witches and magic and things like that, there is, once we get through season 6, there is another fic that I'm going to recommend to you.
Oh, yes,
which
please.
was the fic that I thought we were talking about today. So
okay.
So I'm really glad that I very quickly reread Hot Ghost Problems, because I absolutely got stories completely mixed up in my head. But if you like this one, you will also like this other one. So end of season 6, I will send that one your way as well.
Excellent. All right.
And I will put that one in the list of fics for anybody who is not constrained by what season they can read fics. So that one is, funnily enough, also, that one is another Let Me Tell You About My Feels. And that one is Your Love Is Like an Oil Slick.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's season 6, so we can't read it yet.
Did we cover all of them?
I think we've got one more, if we've got time for one more. So Still Waters, I'm really glad that Kira recommended this one, because the author, Marlena Daniels, so along with HMS Lusitania's Leave the Light On, there was another fic that I read either before that or shortly after that one that absolutely tipped me over into being a rabid Buddie fanfic reader, because I read it and I was like in public kicking my heels and squealing and grinning like an idiot.
Yeah.
And I was so close to recommending that one to you, but in the interests of not overloading you, I chose to leave that off the rec list. So I'm really glad that we got Kira recommending another one by the same author, because then I can shout out how great this author is, because this one is incredibly...
This is very well written.
It's very well written. It's very tonally very different from that other fic, but it's beautiful. So Still Waters is the one sentence summary is 5 ways Eddie's body feels different after the shooting. So it's post survivors, and it's obviously split up into sections of senses. So breathing, touch, hearing, heartbeat, I think, as well, as Eddie is recovering from being shot.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter, this one too. It's only 7,000.
It's a nice short one.
Words, yeah. Yeah, I like... So after he wakes up after, in the hospital after the shooting, and he wakes up to Anna being there, and he's like, oh, this isn't right. Like, that's not who I expected to be there.
Yes.
Because he gets to realise that everything becomes clear when he's lying there on the road.
Yes, it's something about being shot that is incredibly clarifying. And it's like every section is... So the first... so for instance, it's like Eddie's skin feels different after the shooting, and then goes through Eddie's hearing things differently after the shooting. The hearing one is probably my favourite one, because it's talking about, as a parent, Eddie sleeps very lightly because he's always got one ear out for Chris. He's trained himself to sort of stay half awake so that he can hear what's going on because Chris's nightmares. But there's one night that he doesn't hear anything. He sleeps through and wakes up in the morning to Chris waking him up, and he realises that it's because Buck got up in the night with Chris. Yes. And then the next night he does get woken up by Chris, but then he also hears Buck's footsteps in the hallway and Buck going in and talking to Chris, and he just goes back to sleep because he doesn't need to get up because Buck is there.
Oh, and he's safe. It's so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gradually realising through the whole story just how much he loves Buck.
It all culminates when we get to Eddie's breathing is different. Like, his breathing keeps hitching every time Buck is too close to him, and Buck thinks that he's in pain. He's like, oh my god, like, are you hurting? Do I need to change your bandages? But then he realizes that it's not pain. It's something else.
I don't know what to say about this one. It's just so beautiful. Like, the way he, like, it's totally from Eddie's point of view. So he's just gradually realizing his feelings and then like Buck works it out as well after that. So they basically get together. I don't know what else to say about it.
It's very much, it's sort of some fics are about like telling a story or changing the story. This one's like filling the gaps in between the story, really getting into a character's head and rooting around and like pulling bits out and examining them closely. And that's what this one is. It's getting into Eddie's head and his heart and rooting around and pulling out and examining his feelings for Buck in like a really beautiful, very well structured way. And I love that it starts with, the first line is, Eddie takes comfort in living with a certain stillness. But then stillness becomes terrible because Buck, who never stops moving, is frozen still when Eddie gets shot. But then by the end of the fic, Eddie gets that stillness back, but it's a different kind of stillness. It's a better kind of stillness, and Buck is built into that stillness with him.
Yeah. It feels like peace at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it's super fluffy, but it's also, there's quite a lot of like a little bit of angsty introspection thrown in there as well.
So. Oh yeah, because it's Eddie. So there's a lot of shit to work out.
And how he manages to do that without going to therapy, I don't know, but
I don't know.
Because Buck is there, that's why.
Yes.
He's there helping him.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we got to read something from this author. So if you did like this one, I highly recommend their Outsiders series, which is looking at the 118 from an outsider's perspective. So there's one which is post-shooting, told from Helena's point of view. So she and Ramon come to Los Angeles after the shooting, so you see Buck and Eddie through her eyes. But the absolute one that made me like kicking my heels and literally squealing and gasping in public, because I was sitting waiting for my kids to come out of school reading this fic and I could not contain myself, is called Actually Truly. And it's Buck, Eddie, Taylor and Anna at a restaurant, and it's told from the perspective of the waitstaff, who are observing the four of them. And it is hilarious. It's definitely, it's not particularly spoilery, because I think we can all, like, we know that Eddie and Anna are in a relationship. I think we can pretty much assume that something's going on with Buck and Taylor. But it's just adorable, so definitely check out those fics as well. Because we've been going for nearly 2 hours.
I know.
I don't know if anybody wants to actually listen to us talk for like over 2 hours about fic. So we should probably wrap it up pretty soon. But we do have one more, which was recommended to us by Graceful Ashes on Blue Sky, which is Everything parentheses, braces, brackets. What are those?
Yeah, all of those things.
They're all different things. Like the swirly ones and the square ones are all, we go parentheses. Okay. Everything parentheses, Nothing Has Changed, by Bizarre Stars. And this one is, we get a slightly different summary where we get the one-line summary and then we get a quote from the fic. So the one-line summary is, after Eddie gets shot, Buck confesses his love. From there, things get a little out of hand. And it's literally that. It's literally within the first chapter,
Well, the whole first chapter is like Buck in therapy.
Yeah.
Like discussing how he's dealing with everything like after the shooting, right?
Yes, and the realization that he's come to, and he's like rehearsing with Dr. Copeland, and we have no idea what he's talking about until like the last line, where he's like, yes, I am now ready to deal with the fact that I'm in love with Eddie. And then so chapter 2, he then goes to Eddie and says to Eddie, I am in love with you. Bye.
Yeah. Eddie proceeds to, no, he's like, I'm in love with you. There's nothing that we can do about it because you're straight. Bye. I don't even think he says that much, but that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah.
And Eddie freaks out because obviously he has feelings for Buck as well, but Buck doesn't give him the chance to say anything about that. Chaos ensues.
Yes. So this one's got another really great Fannin Taylor in it, which adds very much like Black Cat and Golden Retriever energy between her and Buck.
Yes.
Which I do really like, because he goes and tells Eddie that he's in love with him, and then immediately shows up on Taylor's door. And she's like, I'm not having sex with him. He's like, no, that's fine. I just told Eddie that I'm in love with him. She's like, okay, cool. Come in. We'll order Chinese. We'll watch Project Runway, and we'll bitch about the people in our lives. He's like, okay, great.
Oh, she's so good. We have, if Alice, if you're listening, if you hadn't read this one already, this is the one for you.
I think this one, Alice is actually really excited that it got wrecked. And that we were reading it, because Bizarre Stars is again one of those authors that's, I think they are from
Supernatural.
They have come across from other fandoms into the 911 fandom, so she was very excited to see their name pop up. There's one scene that I do love in this fic, which is miscommunication in this fic abounds, and there's the third, fourth, maybe fifth instance of miscommunication. Eddie and Buck are trying to resolve it in the station house. So you've got them fighting backwards and forwards. You've got Chim and Hen doing a Statler and Waldorf routine, running commentary on what's going on in front of them. And Bobby is just standing there going, does anyone want a muffin? I've got muffins.
Yes.
The banana walnut. Would you like a muffin? And it's like, literally, it's like Bobby says to no one, would you like a muffin? Because it's quite clear no one's paying attention.
Because no one's
but he's trying really hard to disengage with what's going on, and just muffins, please, somebody take my muffins.
Please stop arguing and eat the muffins.
I think in the end, Chim and Han are like, yes, we'll take your muffins now that the show has stopped.
Yeah, it does take them a while to work out their differences. This is 48,000 words, so... And
I think my note to you when I shared that this one got wrecked is that it's, frustrating. The unresolved sexual tension and Eddie being a fucking idiot is... it's just so frustrating.
Well, he goes through a lot in this one. It takes him a long time to reconcile what he's feeling.
Yeah.
And actually do anything about it.
And the whole thing is from Buck's point of view, so we don't even get the ability to see inside Eddie's head, to see what he's going through. We're just seeing sort of what he comes out with no idea of the motivations or what's going on inside his head that triggered the outbursts and the actions.
Yeah.
It's him spiraling, because I think at this point, the way that this was written, Buck has gone through therapy. He's done the work. He's very sort of secure in his sexuality, and he's secure with his feelings for Eddie. And Eddie has done none of that work. And the fact that there is a man who is in love with him, and is absolutely news to him, and he has no idea how to feel about that. He has no idea what these feelings are that are coming up every time Buck says that he's in love with him. Yeah,
and he's also worried that, at one point, Buck is pulling away because he thinks that, okay, this is not working anymore with us being so close together because I can't handle it, you can't handle it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he stops being around so much, and then Eddie gets really cross with him because he's not there, and he's like, can't we just go back to the way things were, because, you know, we were friends and it was great and whatever. Yeah. And Buck's like, no, we can't go back to the way it was. And it's, it goes on. So you just kind of want to beat their heads together.
Oh, and then there's like the, you know, I'm finding it really hard because I'm in love with you and you're with Anna. So Eddie goes and dumps Anna. And he's like, you said you couldn't be around because I'm with Anna, so I fixed it. Like, no!
Yes. It's how you solve your problems. Like, come on. But it does all resolve in the end. It has a very, you know, good resolution. Like, it's a happy ending and everything.
Yes,
so.
Very happy ending. So if you're in the mood for 48,000 words of just, oh my God, they are fucking idiots, then this is the fic for you.
Yep.
It's going to make you want to throw your device across the room out of how idiotic these two are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some people like that, though. So, you know, more power to you if that's what you
like.
Look,
I had a lot of fun reading it, but I also just wanted to, like, give them a slap upside the head kind of thing. Like, yeah. Okay, are there any more? Is there anything else you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
I think, like, there's a lot of things that I want to give a shout out to, but I'm not going to remember them all. So I think that I will just, if you want to see the other fics that Graceless Ashes and Kira recommended, if you want to see the other fics that I would have recommended if I didn't want to absolutely drown Ellen in fic on her holiday, then please check out the show notes for this episode. I will also try to post them on our social media. And if you are reading along with all of the fics that we have talked about in this episode, please go back to AO3 and give those authors some love. Make sure that you kudos their fics. Make sure that you drop a comment going, I just read this fic because I heard people talking about it on a podcast, and tell them how much you love the fic and why you love the fic.
Please do. Even though they are all a few years old now, the authors still see them.
We still love getting comments. It doesn't matter how old our fics are. It doesn't matter if, for instance, you know, let me tell you about the Feels is no longer in the fandom. I am sure that they've still got their notifications turned on for AO3, and they would love to see everybody's love for their fics because it's very well deserved. So please remember to do that.
Yes. Okay, so we'll, as Bex said, we'll include links to all of the fics that we talked about and more. Just go to thatweebyshow.com and find this episode's post, and they'll all be there. Let us know if you've got any extra fics that you want to recommend to us to read, or if any of these you loved in particular. Let us know what you thought about our fanfic episode. Did you make it all the way to the end?
Let us know if you want us to do this again, because I've got so many more fics that we can talk about once we get to the end of season 5. So we can make this a seasonal episode. And I'm
always down to kick my feet and squeal with you about fics.
Yes. Or maybe it'll just be us doing it in private. It's just whether anybody wants to hear us kick our heels and squeal about these two idiots.
Yes. All right, so next week we'll be returning to our regular scheduled programming of beginning season 5.
If we must.
You're making me look forward to it so much.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to like colour your perception of the season.
Well, I will look forward to reading all the fics at Fix afterwards. Then, if there's episodes that we don't like, we'll go and read the fic about it. There we go.
That's a great way to look at it.
Thank you so much for listening to our fanfic episode this week, and we'll catch you next time for usual 911 content. See you then.
Bye.
911 is a fictional show, but many of the situations portrayed happen in the real world too. If any of the topics we've discussed in this episode have affected you, please know you're not alone. You can call or text numbers in your country for help. Just Google crisis support in your location to find out the number. If you enjoy our podcast, you can help us out by leaving us a review on Spotify or your preferred listening app. and by sharing our social media posts. Find out more at thatweewooshow.com. With Destiel, I'll cut this out because we don't want to talk about Destiel all the time, but I read a bunch of like actual canon fic first, I think. But then I read Angel's Wild, and it just like, there was the first AU that I'd read, and it just totally blew my mind. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then I went and just read all of the AUs. So, yeah, I definitely remember reading that one pretty early on.
I think my first STL was 4-letter word.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You started...
That was my first fic. I went
right out of
4-letter word, then I went DTA, and I got stuck in DTA for like 3 months. And then I started looking at what else is there available.
Maybe something a little shorter than all of those very big ones.